I hate when my phone charger won't reach my bed.
I hate when my leather seats aren't heated.
When I go to the bathroom and I forget my phone.
Le mette radio dans machine à laver, yo commence à sentir.
I hate it when my house is so big. I need 2 wireless washers.
When my milk gun makes my hot water taste too cold.
When I have to write my maid a check, but I forget her last name.
M'pa ka écrit message dans machine en même temps.
Moi te quitté casse en bas.
Moi rayi les voisins bloqué internet là.
I hate it when I tell them no pickles and they still give me pickles.
I hate it when the electricity cuts out for weeks. I hate it when I'm late for school because I have to walk 10 kilometers every day just to get there.
I hate it when the rain comes too hard and washes out our only road.
I hate it when I have to sell peanuts on the street until midnight so my family can eat the next day.
I hate it when I don't have $2 to buy malaria medication for my daughter.
I hate it when I can't afford to go to school because my country doesn't have free education.
I hate it when the doctors go on strike because the government hasn't paid them in months.
I hate it when I can't go to school because I have to look after my younger siblings.
I hate it when the rains don't come and we can't cultivate our fields.
I hate it when I have to share my shoes with my younger brother.
I hate when the village water pump breaks down and we don't have water for days.
I hate it when my children get sick from drinking water from the well.
Before it's too late. Before it's too late. Before.
Well, I'm Bobby with, I'm not Bobby, you're Bobby. I'm Chris.
Oh my gosh. That was awesome.
Just showing how imperfect this show is, right?
You know what? It's perfectly imperfect.
Hey, I hate it when I say the other person's name is my own.
Particularly when you know who you are, right? I mean, that's got to be tough, right? When you know who you are and you introduce yourself as me. I mean, that's got to be hard.
Well, I mean, you are pretty fantastic. So, I mean, if I could really go into a room and somehow people would think I'm Bobby Kountz.
Oh, that's too
maybe,
funny.
Just maybe. Maybe I could get the respect.
That is too funny. Well, listen, that video, wow. I would love to hear first, honestly, because I know that you viewed this with somebody else, and now we just viewed it together. I'd love to hear what came up for you as you were thinking about some of the things that were being expressed by the kids, the individuals from a third world country talking about what we call problems.
Yeah, well, you know, Dave Lynn, who hosted the 24-hour gratitude live feed last week, he brought up the video, and I'd seen it, but it'd been a lot of years, and I just watched it again, and you know, it's just such a beautiful perspective. You know, it's just a beautiful video again that puts you in perspective. And I'll tell you, when I watched it last time with Dave last week, I thought to myself, I would love to see the flip side where you have Americans saying these things. And I found that second video this morning. I said, oh, this is great. I could show the kids in the third world country, and then I can show Americans saying the same thing just to bring home how absolutely ridiculous most of the things that we complain about are.
Yeah, and not to take away from some of the challenges that we all face, because listen, we all face challenges. There's no doubt about that. But what we call problems, you know, when you everything is based upon perspective. Right. There's an author, Anais Nin, and she's quoted as saying, and whether it's her or somebody else, it doesn't really matter. But a lot of times, because I'll investigate these quotes and find out that the person that they're attributed to may not actually be who said what they said. And that's the nature of life. But something to the effect of, we don't see the world as it is, but as we are.
Right.
So we see the world through the filter of our own lived experience. How interesting is it to see those kids and, well, the whole video for that matter, but in particular the kids. I don't know why I resonate with the kids maybe more than the other message, but when you hear them talking about these things that are so trivial and you hear it coming out of their mouth, it makes it almost laughable that we would even think about complaining, like about not taking our phone to the bathroom, The water one always hits home for me. I think you probably know that I'm a proud supporter of charity water, and I have been for years. And it's one of those things that I do where I don't miss the money. It just automatically comes out of my check. I never see it, so I don't miss it. But I know that small monthly contribution that I'm making is making a real difference in the life of a whole village potentially. Because if my contribution is what brought it, it was the tipping point that brought water to a village that otherwise didn't have it, that maybe the girls are walking 4, 5, 6 miles each direction to get water, then that changed a life forever. That little girl all of a sudden can now be in school instead.
Right. I remember listening to the gentleman who did I can't remember the name of the shoe company, but it was like, you buy one, he would go and give one to third world. Like literally he traveled to hand these shoes over, and just the difference, having what shoes meant, and then going further. And even if, I think even Mike was talking about bikes, right? Like what would a bike mean to somebody in a third world country? Like what being able to go to school or getting to somewhere you normally wouldn't be able to, or whatever. Watching it, I'll tell you, watching it again this morning and putting everything together, we just did laundry. So we went downstairs.
Oh my God.
Walked 2 flights of stairs. It's a communal laundry here in the building, which is awesome. But seeing the picture earlier, because I was trying to capture an image to make that opening graphic. And I think the girl said something about when my clothes don't get as dry as they can be, or something, aren't fully dry, right?
No, it's when they sit in the washer so long that they get a funk to them, right? Or they have
something like that, where they were left in the washer too long. Yeah, it was just like.
And then you see the kids, and and it looked like some moms probably, and they're washing their clothes in the river.
Right, and I've hand washed, and I've seen my wife and other people obviously in a sink. We had no it's simplistic. You've got soap and you're in a place where there's water flowing, but to think you have to travel outside to a stream that's running down, and then just fortunate, just so many gifts, man. I keep continuing going back to we wake up every day with these amenities that only kings that kings couldn't even fantasize 200 years ago. We literally live in the dreams of people a couple of years ago. They could never even dreamt. You and I sitting here having this conversation, and the lives we've had just been born into.
Well, just this simple technology that this is taking place on right now, as an example, right? If you presented this to someone 50 years ago, they'd be looking at this and they would just be in absolute awe of what was happening.
Yeah. I mean, when you think in our lifetime there's a video of Steve Jobs just talking about the first iPhone or the iPad, and I'm going to touch. It was before touch screens were, wasn't really a thing. It was just a thought in someone's mind, probably several people's minds, but he's the one that spoke it into a loud crowd, and then later on, there you go. The iPhone, the first touch screen, fully touch capability screen. And then where does that go? Right here we are.
Yeah. Well, think about this, right? So in the vein of that same video, I hate it when my computer doesn't work the way I want it to, right? Or I hate it when I have to reboot my computer. Oh my God, how horrible is that?
It's more like honestly, the Wi-Fi went down in my place, I think one time in the last year, and it definitely gave me a pause, because it's like, as soon as these stuff, we don't sit around, for example, I don't get up every morning and say the list of things I'm grateful for. I don't think my Wi-Fi in the morning, bro. I don't think Spectrum. I don't think the wires. I don't think the satellites. I don't think any of those things. But as soon as that stops working, man, is it an irritation. And that's just because I really don't appreciate it. I don't think about, I think of it as something I'm entitled to. My mind's got an entitlement because it's always there. Yeah. And honestly, it's as soon as it goes away, you can sit for it and go, okay. I wasn't thinking yesterday how great this is. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, it'll come back. It's okay. Life's not going to end. This is temporary. Just appreciate. I should be more appreciative. Okay, I'm going to take this time not to do this, right? Okay, it just means I shouldn't play on the internet right now. I don't need to, I don't need to search the web or watch videos or, you know what I mean? Or look at Facebook. I don't need to do this. I actually don't need to do those anyways. But literally, the internet's down. I can't do them. So honestly, circling back around, I was talking last week. It's like, if you find yourself in a place of boredom, be grateful. Be freaking grateful, right? Because think about it. In times past, people did not have that that luxury of being bored, right? You'd have to wake up before the sun was coming up. You have to go out, work fields, somehow try to figure out how to eat, right? Get some food, get back, and then do it all over again. That was thousands of years of civilization, thousands, right? And now we sit here and we could just be bored. Yeah. What a gift. What a gift. How about if you're like, oh, I'm bored right now? What if we could have kids wake up and go, I'm bored right now. That's great. What if they could pivot to like, man, that's an awesome thing to be able to have. That's a gift.
Yeah. Yeah. Boredom is what we make of it, right?
Oh yeah.
So, and it can be a gift, but for a person that doesn't know what to do with their time, it can be a curse. But we assign that value back to the quote that I shared earlier by Anais Nin. We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. Right. So if the place of reference for us is boredom, then that's what we'll experience. If the place of reference for us is, oh my gosh, I have some extra time. What do I want to do for myself? Maybe even better, what could I do for someone else? It's the same amount of time.
It's the same thing happening in real. It's the same experience. It's a different perspective.
Yeah. It's that video that we watched with all of the passages expressed by the individuals that expressed them. It's a disruptor. That video is a disruptor. It disrupts our normal thought pattern. Like you said about the internet, right? Something that we take for granted. Something else that we take for granted in America, at least, is freedom.
Oh yeah. I thought about this last. I watched a movie called The Courier a couple nights ago with Cumberbatch in it. It's about the Cold War, and he was a businessman in Europe that got basically. He was the one talking with one of the main Russian guys doing espionage stuff that actually get the missiles out of Cuba. But long story short, he was imprisoned at the end for I think years. And I was sitting there going, that happens now. We don't see it. But if you went somewhere else in the world, they could stick you in a hole for the rest of your life. You'd have, you know what I mean? Like it happens all the time. We just don't know about it.
Without ever charging you with anything.
Right.
So I'm not here to dismiss any disparities that exist in our own country. I'm not here to say that. People always want to jump on the bandwagon. They say, well, you're comparing this and that, and it's not apples and apples. It's apples and oranges, or it's this and that. I'm not here to debate or dispute any of that. I'm only here to bring light to the idea that we're the ones that are assigning value to everything. Michael says on a regular basis, all events in life are neutral until we label them.
Right.
We are the ones assigning value.
We get to make the decision. We're the ones holding the keys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in America, we actually hold the keys to the kingdom. That's not true in Bangladesh. That's not true in India. That's not true in most of the third world countries where maybe some of this, it's not true in Africa. It's not true in the majority. This is crazy too. We don't think this way because we're locked into our own little world, doing our own thing in our own surroundings. We don't even understand that across the globe, there are young boys and girls who will never have running water, who will never be able to go and flip a switch and have a light come on. When we watched the other video from Brother David Steindl Ross,
last week,
and he talked about waking up, just being grateful that you woke up and that you had eyes to see with. How often do we ever wake up and just be grateful for our eyes? How often do we, as he said, look at the clouds? Here's another interesting thing. All of those problems that were shared by the kids that shared them and the spokespeople that shared those messages, I wonder what their level of happiness is with what they do have. I wonder what their level of gratitude is with what they do have. I would bet that they are grateful for the smallest little things that are just above maybe survival level things that we take for granted, that they're suddenly grateful for. Imagine having a charity water well in your village when you've never had water, for example.
I can't even think what I could compute that to in the world we live in, right? That you and I live in here in the United States. Like what could even be on par with an experience like that? Because we have all the amenities are all met. I was even last night we're watching Netflix or we're watching or whatever, Prime or whatever, or HBO Max, right? And I was going, before back in the day, it was easy to make a decision because you only had a few things to choose from.
Yeah.
And now that there's this overabundance, it's like you literally could spend all night looking for something to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like you're giving it's like almost like we're given so much where it's like it's too much because we just kind of sit in it opposed to appreciate it. Like if you had 3, you'd be like, okay, we're here together, we're gonna watch something, we're not gonna spend an hour looking for it. Okay, there's 3 things. All right, we're choosing that one, and it's like it completely makes sense. And then kind of pivoting really briefly here, the idea of disruption or something, splice into your day, this whole your gratitude moment, the text email gratitude infusion that Gratitude Space is doing is a very simple idea where in the middle of your morning, you just get a gratitude picture and quote sent to your phone just as a little reminder to be grateful. And I put this little clip together I wanted to share real briefly of just the reminders from the last week.
Awesome. Yeah. I love that. So, I obviously have been getting those, and I created a how you have your photos, right? And they were just accumulating and they were mixed in with all the others. Well, I created an album and now I've pulled them all into the album and I have 32 or 3 of those in my album now. And at any moment now, because of that, I have access. If I'm feeling a little bit down, if I'm, experiencing something and I want to experience something differently, all I have to do is go to my phone, listen to that, right? Go to my phone, open it up, tap on that album, and I can scroll through 3 or 4 of those, read those, and in an instant, I'm right back where I want to be, because we're always at choice.
Right.
We just don't always remember that we're always at choice. In a third world country, you're not always at choice. You're just not. It's completely different. We are so blessed. We are so gifted. We are so, you know, I almost want to say complacent in the understanding of all that we have. That sometimes I think we just need a gentle reminder that there's so much to be grateful for. And that's what your little, gratitude moments are really all about. They're a disruptor, like you said, they bring you back to, oh yeah, you know what? There is plenty for me to be grateful for. Yes, I can experience everything I need to experience. I can process everything I need to process. I can be angry. I have my whole gamut of emotions, but I get to decide where I want to live, where I want to breathe, and where I want to stay, because I'm always at choice. It's not that way across the world. If I'm traveling 7 miles, 8 miles, 10 miles, whatever it is, to get to the place where the water is, to just gather it, then have to bring it back to the village, boil it to make it drinkable, right? Just as an example.
Right.
And I might have to do that twice in a day. That could be the whole day. Just making sure the village has water. I've got nothing to complain about.
Right.
And I am abundantly grateful for everything. The good, the bad, the ugly. I'm even grateful for COVID. I know that some people aren't. I am. I'm grateful for COVID. I think COVID's been a reset for a lot of people. I'm not grateful for what it's done or what it's caused or the heartache. I'm not here to dismiss or discount any of that. I am making an I statement. I am grateful for COVID because it's made me an even more grateful person. It's made me realize that there's so much to be thankful for.
Well, that reminds me of that the post that I even put in the book, is people, reminding at this moment in time, we can't go to concerts, we can't go into restaurants, we can't, all these can'ts. And honestly, if the one thing that came out of this past 18 months is the appreciation for these everyday things, that is a huge gift. And honestly, we had no control over the car going down this road. So either you can decide to look on the right-hand side and see the sun rising, or you can look on the left-hand side and see the junkyard. It's really, it's all on the road. The question is, like you said, it's like, do you want to look right or left? I love that image. It's another great image, right? It's like two people are sitting in a prison. It's a drawing where one person's painting the sun setting and the other one's painting the barbed wires, right? Like they literally
the bars. One guy sees the bars, the other guy's just happy he can see the sun, right?
Yeah, this is brilliant.
Yes. It's like this image that's across the bottom of the screen right now. Had I not pointed that out, I don't know how many people would really see that, because we go where our eyes go. Right. We focus where our eyes focus. They may be focused on what we're talking about, right? But if you look at that and you see, it's like my mind, we think in pictures. We don't think in words. Almost in my mind, I'm thinking amber waves of grain, right? And you see this beautiful sky, the clouds, like Brother David Sandal Ross talked about. Look at all the shapes and the sun, the hues, the different, I mean, there's a lot to be grateful for right in the image that's on the screen in front of me. We just have to slow down and give ourselves permission to experience that.
Right. And, just sitting here looking at you, how many things are just working right now on my side, right? And we're not even talking about technology. I'm talking about in my body, right? So
absolutely.
I can hear you. I can understand what you're saying. I can see you. I have color. There's perception there, depth perception. All this is happening. And I'm physically upright to be able to be here, and I'm breathing. So all these things, and I'm just giving surface level things. When I'm talking about, you go into the oxygen going through my body and the heart pumping for the last 42 years, right?
Oh, yeah. And your hair and your fingernails are growing right now.
Oh, that's happening right now.
Think about that, right? That's all going on. It's all happening.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It really is.
You just made me think about something just now. I don't know why. Maybe this image and the conversation, the flashback to that, and somebody was talking about seeds. You take a seed and you put it in the ground, and then you cover it with dirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's dark.
Right. You may think you're in a prison, right? Or it's like you think you're being suffocated, right? But
Yes.
yeah.
But you were planted is what happened.
I've seen that picture too. That's a great picture.
In any moment, we can decide to be planted and to experience what comes from the realization that we have the gift of growth available to us in any moment. And we can let that be a surprise. Like literally, like we can wake up surprised that we woke up, right? We can wake up surprised that we can see. We can wake up and be surprised at the magnificence of the world that surrounds us. We can bask in the glory of the awesomeness that is this world.
You know, something I don't falter from when I do my gratitude journal every morning. You know, I write every day. I got to see the show. So I'm sitting here. Sometimes the sun's rising, I can see it. Sometimes it's dark, but I got to see the show. Life is a gift. I remind myself that the fact that I woke up and today is a gift. Yeah. You know, and I even make the statement, you know, today is going to be an amazing day, you know, and I'm enough. I don't need anything more. I'm here. I don't need anything else to bring me joy. I have everything already, and I'm going to appreciate whatever's gifted to me. I'm going to look at things as gifts when they arrive, but I'm not going to expect them, because when you expect things, then it's a whole different mindset.
Yeah.
It's like you're walking around with your hand out all day, and you know what? If somebody doesn't put something in your hand, oh, you just had a bad day.
Yeah.
No one loves me then.
Yeah. It comes down as very simple. The phrase that I love more than anything is it's a great day to be grateful.
Right. And I think that's a great place to go out on, man. It's a great day to be grateful. You and I, obviously, Bobby and I could talk forever. He wanted to do 20 minutes. I said 30. So we're pushing up on where I was, because we got one last 2-minute video. Actually, it's a 3-minute video I want to show everybody. If you got this far, there's just a little bit more that you can view. But Bobby and I are going to hop off here, and I'm going to play this next video. And Bobby and I are going to talk about it when you guys are done, when we're done. So you stay,
awesome.
don't go anywhere anyways. Okay.
It was great to be here again, man. It was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Well, here we are.
All right.
sihlale sonke ongcinela uthando sihlale sonke kami ngogcinela sihlale sonke alala sihlale sonke ayayaya sihlale sonke sihlale sonke sihlale sonke iyakuthanda izokhuluma nabazali sihlale sonke iyakuthanda izokhuluma nabazali sihlale sonke iyakuthanda izokhuluma nabazali sihlale sonke alala sihlale sonke olala olala sihlale sonke sihlale sonke sihlale sonke nakabantu abami sihlale sonke sihlale sonke sihlale sonke sihlale sonke